Today's video is dedicated to Casey McClara. Thank you, Casey. Golos Tireless Pilgrm versus the Scarab God, Gishath Sun's Avatar, and Kenrith the Returned King. We have 3 lands there and a mana rock, so I'm going to keep that one. This is a more casual build brought to us by one of our patrons. Yeah, this deck is brought to us by Casey McClara, who supports the channel at the Mythic tier. And yeah, very big thank you to Casey for supporting the channel. Supporting at the Mythic tier allowed Casey to show us the Golos Tireless Pilgrim Cycling deck, and I've always wanted to play a cycling deck. I meant to build one a while ago, and yeah, just haven't gotten around to it because Wizards of the Coast won't stop releasing sets and new commanders all the time, so yeah, I think Zendikar only came out a few weeks ago and we're already looking at the next set, so it's just a constant barrage of new cards. But thanks to Casey, we get to play a cycling deck. Had to mulligan down a bit by the looks of it, but at least had a Sol Ring, so hopefully that will help them. We just have a tap land, plenty of cycling cards in the deck, including the lands. Don't really have any special lands to grab with Golos, because the mana base wasn't built when Casey gave this to me. So I just went for lots of different colours and cycling lands, and that's about as special as the lands get in this Golos deck. Then Demonic Tutor, coming from the Scarab God player, up against a couple of patrons by the way. Gogo is on Kenrith, Billy Kills on Gishath, so a big thank you for the 2 of them supporting the channel as well. And then Easy Peasy Lemon Queasy is from the Discord, a viewer of the channel as well. We get into Decree of Pain. Nothing we can do. I don't think we even have a cheap cycling effect, do we? No, we'll just have to throw out the Tiger and tap out. They're managing to get themselves into the blue source. Not sure if that's what they went after. I dare say Phyrexian Arena is what they went for with the Demonic Tutor, trying to refill their hand because they had to mulligan down so much. Elixir of Immortality, we're just going in for the crystal. And then if we get into a land next turn, we can always cycle. Might as well drop ourselves the Elixir of Immortality. And there is a Master of the Feast from Gogo. So this looks as though it's a group hug deck, I'm guessing. Getting into more good stuff, and it seems as though this will be Zombie Tribal, Dreadhorde Invasion, and Crypt Breaker. Down to 1 card in hand over there. And we get into a Fluctuator, which makes the cycling ability of cards cost less. Yeah, we could get into the Fluctuator. I think I quite like Brawling here, so let's go for that. And we do have Shabraz in the deck, so we'll use the partner ability to search through the 99 and put that into hand. Each of us is going to draw a card now with Master of the Feast at the beginning of Gogo's upkeep. Gets us into Akroma's Vengeance. Search for Azcanta for Gogo. Now there's our black mana fixed in the 5-colour deck, thanks to Urborg as well. Unfortunately, Billy Kills, missing land drops. Hopefully he'll be able to get himself closer to land drops with all the group hug stuff that I assume is going to occur over here. Might not be group hug. Anyway, discarding some expensive stuff down to hand size, getting rid of Savage Beating, Quartzwood Crasher, and Rishkar's Expertise as well. Just ripping all the good cards off the top. Now it is Endless Ranks of the Dead. I have to go for Akroma's Vengeance sooner than I would have liked. And we get ourselves into a land, so it looks as though it's going to be Golos this turn, I think. So let's go for Golos. And like I said, there's nothing incredible with regards to lands that we want to grab. So let's just make it a command tower. And then we'll swing in at the zombie player, because they seem to be making incredible draws every chance they get. We all draw from the demon again, this time getting into Boon of the Wish Giver. And there is the second commander of the game, Kenrith the Returned King. Wow, and the bad luck continues for Billy Kills, even with the extra card draw, not managing to get into a land. This time getting rid of Zendikar Resurgent and Path of Metal. Endless Ranks of the Dead going to start triggering now. They'll get themselves an extra zombie, which means they can draw an extra card now with the Crypt Breaker. And then in for a Grave Titan, wow. There's an Ancient Excavation for us, which is basic land cycling. I think maybe... what to do here? Maybe we just go Akroma's Vengeance. Just to reset the board, it puts us down to 5 lands. Our opponent, 5 lands there, 2 here. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 there. So it puts us all on an equal playing field again. I think we're okay to go for that. Might as well get some damage onto Billy Kills first. We are going to be helping him out here by slowing the game down. So he can eat 6 points of damage. And we'll consider ourselves even. Deciding to draw a card with the zombies there. Off of the Crypt Breaker. But that takes everyone back down to just 5 lands. Everyone apart from Billy Kills, of course. And then we discard at the end of the turn. Why don't we just get rid of the Obstructionist? I think this counters... yeah, activated and triggered abilities, so we're not bothered about that. If it countered something else as well, then I'd probably keep hold of it, but it's a bit too narrow this early in the game, I think. And there we go, he gets into a land. Can't activate the ability of it, unfortunately, but 3 lands is better than 2. Now, the zombie player getting into Liliana of the Dark Realms and plussing that straight away for a swamp. Now, Astral Shift for us. Maybe we can start going off with cycling stuff. Yeah, I think Astral Shift and the Fluctuator would be good. So let's throw both of those out. And then we've got a couple of cards that we can cycle. I'll probably just try and save them for when we can flicker a creature. Maybe should have done it on our turn actually, because we could have played a land there, and then maybe we get into a land for Golos next turn. Obviously learning this deck as we go, because I've never played it before. And the bad luck continues for Billy Kills. Gogo not playing anything either. Another Liliana coming down now. Liliana, the last hope. Got some really good draws over there. And in for the Mill Zombie, Undead Alchemist. Searching for a swamp as well. They've already made their land for the turn, which was the last swamp they tutored for. Yeah, there we go. We get into a land. So had I have gone for the Ancient Excavation, I don't think we played a land last turn, so I could have gone for that, played a land and gone for Golos here. And then we could have started to abuse Astral Drift. Yeah, anyway, let's get down the Verdant Catacombs. Might as well get down the Buccaneer. And I think I'm going to cycle now, so that we can deal 1 damage to each opponent. I'm going to get the Undead Alchemist out of the way with Astral Drift, and we can swing in at the Planeswalker. And the cycling will obviously draw us into a card, get into another land. So let's go in towards the Liliana that can get the emblem that makes swamps really scary. I've gotten that a couple of times. So we'll swing in over there. Then the Undead Alchemist comes back at the end of the turn. We just cycled to get that out of the way there. And now Kenrith coming back in for Gogo. And there we are, a green source for Billy Kills finally. We're all on more casual decks here, by the way. That's why some of the mana bases are a bit funny. I did think that this deck would be a bit of a slower one. A bit too slow for Magic Online. It's probably good enough for paper, but Magic Online's a very fast format. So I said to everyone to bring some more casual builds. And there is a Scarab God from our opponent. Don't think they've got a land to make. And this is, yeah, it's 4 mana to activate. Noteworthy that the Scarab God does make token copies of the creatures, so we can always Astral Drift them out of play. And the token won't come back. They'll still get the ETBs and stuff though. Killing off their own Liliana of the Dark Realms in order to give their Undead Alchemist a buff, and we'll see where they go with that. giving the Kenrith a debuff, so it might be that that's where they're swinging him. Not a huge fan of this card because it removes damage, I think, doesn't it? If a zombie would deal combat damage to a player, instead you mill, yeah, so it doesn't deal any damage here. And that will help to enable the Scarab God, which is obviously why it's in here. And coming in at us, I don't fancy getting milled, although it might be good to use the Reclaim. Let's just go for the Cycling here. We'll deal a damage to everyone and take that out of play. And the basic land cycling allows us to go in for something. We're heavy on blue and white in this deck. We're fixed on black mana, so let's just grab ourselves a plains here. Then at the end of the turn, our opponent will get their zombie back. How about Reclaim onto Boon of the Wishgiver? I think we'll hold off a turn on that, because I think we're going in for our commander. Be nice to draw into some kind of cycling effect. Alright, well, there's one. I think we'll probably go for the cycle on that. Let's drop a plains. And we'll go for our Golos again. And then if our opponent decides to swing in at us, we can block with Golos, cycle this, and flicker our Golos with the Astral Drift. And we'll try and keep as many cycling lands in the deck as possible. Let's just go for Reflecting Pool, which goes very nicely with the Command Tower. A Talisman from the Kenrith player. They can afford to reanimate their Master of the Feast if they want to, which would be a good means of getting damage onto Liliana. Yep, that's exactly what they're going for. They haven't left up red mana, notably. Oh, actually, not going for their own creature. Doing Billy Kills a service by getting the Quartzwood Crasher into play. Because the creature does come under its owner's control from its owner's graveyard. Thought it was curious that they weren't holding up red mana for the haste and trample. And there we are, a Spring Bloom Druid. I don't think they've managed to make a land yet, but at least that'll get lands into play. Only seeing the first forests on turn 9, that is really, really unlucky, 4 kills. And they decide to go crashing in towards Liliana with the Crasher. They won't trigger the ability if they get damage through to Liliana, it has to be on a player. But just letting the Liliana go down here. Scarab God will see a zombie and allow them to scry. Arcane Signet for Queasy. And then taking in the zombie towards Billy Kills this time. So I might save the cycling ability, because we can always go for Golos on our own turn anyway. And they manage to hit there, and they get rid of a couple of creatures. So they'll make some zombies. Getting rid of Awakening Sun's Avatar and the Titanoth Rex. Now then, do we go for this cycling or not? I actually quite like the idea of ramping. The crystal kind of replaces itself when we use it to flicker the Golos. Oh, actually, should have done it before the end of the turn, shouldn't we? Yeah, like I said, still learning the deck. Oh well. Yeah, would have been able to go for Golos' ability next turn. Would not like to return Golos to the command zone. It can stay in exile. Ready to come in. It will now be at the end of our turn. A Faith of the Devoted is a means of draining our opponents with cycling. Oh, and there's another good payoff for cycling. So, yeah, at least we could still do some stuff here. We don't actually have anything to cycle, unfortunately. Let's get a land into play. And we'll go for the Unpredictable Cyclone. Priority being held over here, so it might be that there's some counter magic being held up. We'll just tap out into the Faith of the Devoted as well, because we don't have any cycling cards. We can grab one with the Reclaim if we feel like we need to do that. So yeah, I think we're okay just going for the enchantment here. And now we get our Golos back into play. And I think we're okay to just grab a Tundra, because at this point any of the tapped cycling lands that we get into we're probably going to use to cycle. Go-Go has run out of steam seemingly, so it's just passing through the turn. They can reanimate creatures at instant speed, so it might be that they're just holding up abilities on Kenrith. Then it's Farseek from our opponent. And getting the colours fixed finally. 7 cards in hand, and it is Reclamation Sage. We'll go on something of ours, I dare say. Probably between Astral Drift and going after the Fluctuator. That might be what we grab with the Reclaim, actually. I was considering going after the boon of the Wishgiver, and then we could activate Golos and cast it. That would draw us into 4 cards. Yeah, don't know, I might still do that, because we've got plenty of mana. And the 6/6 is going to come in at us this time, and they will get a token. We're just going to take it. So we might be fast approaching a Decree of Pain, actually. Now, Scarab God is going after our Brawling, which will exile it and make a token copy of it. Then it's round 2, the Scarab God's turn, and they now have 4 zombies in play. So we'll all lose 4 life and they will scry 4. Oh, and there's a Whip of Erebos as well, to give all of their stuff lifelink, and they can reanimate their stuff as well. Don't think they've got any creatures to worry about, to be honest. Well, they're going for a reanimate anyway. Oh, and of course I forgot all about the Grave Titan. Definitely time for a Decree of Pain, I think. They'll still be able to get the Grave Titan out next turn, but it'll exile it at least with the Whip of Erebos. Kenrith is going to give all creatures haste and trample. Okay. And I bet the zombie player won't go in at Kenrith as a reward for doing that. I was wondering if we try and save our Golos under the Astral Drift by grabbing a cycling card back with Reclaim and then going for Decree of Pain. I'm not sure what we do here. Well, it looks as though we're eating pretty much everything here. We'll wait for all the triggers to resolve and we'll see who's going where. We're actually not going to take any damage at all here, are we, thanks to the Undead Alchemist. And in response to the attacks, Kenrith is going for something. Okay, and then going to give us 5 life. We're actually not going to take any life from anything apart from the Scarab God, which I will probably block with the Buccaneer because we're going to lose it anyway. So go, playing politics all over the place here. So we've got the Grave Titan. Oh, the Grave Titan isn't a zombie either, is it? So we take damage from these 2. And they both got trample, so we might as well just take less commander damage. We've got some zombies hitting us as well. Yeah, so everything's swinging in at us apart from this lone zombie that's going in towards Billy Kills. Let's just block the Scarab God here. We gain some life to mitigate a little bit of what Grave Titan is going to do. But yeah, I think we'll just leave it like that. And we'll see what we want to grab back with Reclaim, if anything. The Reclamation Sage is going to block the zombie, so they'll trade and take 1 damage, which will have them mill a card. So there we are, Undead Alchemist will trigger. We go down to 27. Anyway, they exile from us. We can't look at our exile zone. A Psychosis Crawler. And they've obviously gotten rid of the Brawling already. What else is in here? Wilderness Reclamation I very much like. We'll probably go for that, actually, with the Reclaim. They got rid of Swords to Plowshares, some lands. It wasn't actually that bad. The main thing was the Wilderness Reclamation. Now it is Vengeful Dead. They've tapped out. There might be counter magic over here. There is a blue source. I think we will go for Reclaim onto something. Would be nice to be able to go Reclaim and then during the upkeep activate Golos so that we could cast something for free. But I don't want to go for Akroma's Vengeance again because it will get rid of our enchantments. So let's go for the Wilderness Reclamation, I think. Then we obviously draw into that. Let's just go straight in for an attempt on Decree of Pain. And this should draw us a lot of cards here. Although Go is holding up mana. Just deciding to draw a card with it though. And there we have ourselves a board wipe. So, Vengeful Dead. We'll have each opponent lose life per creature that died there, or per zombie that died. And we draw into a lot of cards. We'll put Golos in the command zone. And then, I think it has to be... What do we go for here? We just want to keep as many cycling cards in play as possible. We've got 3 mana, so I think we're okay to just play the Jewel Land in Plateau. And we'll pass the turn at that, I think. Gonna have to discard a lot. Alright, there we go. And now, do we want to tap out? I don't think we're going to cycle during our opponent's turns. Because I don't think anyone's going to get anything hasty into play that we're all that worried about. So let's just gain some life here, I think. So over the next turn or so, I'm thinking that we try and get Wilderness Reclamation into play to make use of the being able to cycle on every turn. We won't miss the Fluctuator too much if we just untap our lands every turn. Going for Animate Dead. Didn't realise that Kenrith had been put into the graveyard, so that can give itself haste. And they went for gaining 5 life. Oh, they gave Billy Kills 5 life. Now going for the Evolving Wilds. Now we're only 1 land away from Gishath, so that's something that we have to be wary of. And the Farhaven Elf will get them into that land that they need. Then a Death Gorge Scavenger. When it enters or attacks, you can exile a card from your graveyard. If it's a creature, gain 2 life. And non-creatures, give it +1/+1 until end of turn. They decide to exile the Grave Titan, that's a very good choice. And our opponent's discussing which of our permanents they want to deal with next. They obviously decided on the Fluctuator first of all. And now going after Astral Drift potentially. Scarab God comes down. And then reanimating Reclamation Sage. So does that go after? Yep, goes after the Astral Drift. So we're not going to be flickering Golos or anything anymore. Alright, another land for us, which we can just play immediately. I think Wilderness Reclamation will be 4. And then we'll still have 8 mana held up. So that might just be Shabraz and a Lightning Greaves. Problem is, when we cycle the lull, what are we going to get into off of the Unpredictable Cyclone? I mean, it's a May ability anyway, so we don't have to go for that. Yeah, let's go for Shabraz. Then Lightning Greaves as well can go onto the Shabraz. And we'll get down our Wilderness Reclamation. And that can be our turn. We can hold up all of our cycling stuff. Kami of the Crescent Moon, going to draw everyone some cards. At the end of the turn, let's go for cycling a land and see what we get into. Might as well pay a life into the Faith of the Devoted. That will gain us another life. Put a plus counter on Shabraz as well. Bone Miser might be of some use to us. Let's go Migration Path. I don't know if the timing restrictions matter on the Unpredictable Cyclone, actually. I think they might do. Pay into the Black Enchantment again. And alright, a Diabolic Tutor, and we do get to cast that. So the timing restrictions don't matter on there. Not sure what we want with Diabolic Tutor, though. Teferi's Ageless Insight would be good. I think Teferi's Ageless Insight is the way to go with that, so that we can try and draw a bunch of cards. Yeah, we'll just go after that. Oh, and we actually should have, again, missing the end step thing, should have gone for that at the main phase, because we don't get to untap with Wilderness Reclamation during this turn now. So we don't have as much mana available to us. I don't think it's going to matter. I think we're just taking a hit from Gishath either way here. But yeah, definitely need to be wary of that. Now, we might have to make use of the lull here in order for Billy Kills to not get a cartload of dinosaurs into play, especially if they're coming at us, which I imagine they will. And yeah, coming in at us. So let's cast ourselves a lull. And that resolves, so we can just take the hit now. Scarab God triggering again at the beginning of the turn. They'll scry and have everyone lose 1. And of course they'll draw with Kami as well. Well, there's Dictate of Erebos, so it's going to be difficult for us to keep our Shabraz in play. Our Golos as well. Luckily they don't have a sack outlet yet, so the Dictate of Erebos isn't as good as it could be. Well, there's a sack outlet almost. Sidisi Undead Vizier. Deciding to sacrifice the Sidisi itself, so that can come back with Scarab God or some other reanimation effect at some point. I'm just wondering which other enchantments we could grab with this. I don't think there's actually all that many enchantments we can get into. I just had a quick look through the deck list. There's the Drake one. I don't think we can get into Ominous Seas. Oh no, we haven't milled that. I was just thinking if we wanted to cycle in response, we'll draw 2 cards with Teferi's Ageless Insight, so I might just wait a turn so that we can look at another card. We'll get some additional use out of the Bone Miser as well. So I don't think it's worth the plus counter and the 1 point of life with Shabraz. We'll just sacrifice it here. Then after the tutor from Sidisi, Kenrith going for something. Going to reanimate their own Kami, which they were forced to sacrifice. That's good. That'll give us another card draw. Unfortunately, can't get the Teferi enchantment into play before that triggers. Then the Scarab God coming in at us for 5 points of commander damage. And Archfiend of Ifnir. Alright. We'll draw with the Kami as well. And that is another cycle effect. That's really good. So can we do these 3 this turn? That'll be 14 mana. And we're a couple of mana shy, unfortunately. So do we want Archfiend of Ifnir? We can cycle twice as it stands now. Yeah, could make use of that, I suppose. We're definitely going for Teferi's Ageless Insight anyway. Then do we want Bone Miser or the Archfiend of Ifnir? Discard a land, we get mana. Discard a non-creature on land, we draw a card. I think we might have to just bin the Archfiend of Ifnir, unfortunately. And rely on getting zombies into play and drawing cards. So let's throw down the Bone Miser. We'll cycle the Tectonic Reformation. And that will allow us to pay 1. Should have seen what we draw into with the Bone Miser first, but I don't think there's anything for 1 mana that we want to go for. So we'll say yes to that, drain our opponents for 2. Draw the card with the Bone Miser. And yeah, there was nothing we were going to do with that anyway. Get into another cycle card, which is good. Which replacement effect do we want? Do we want more cards or do we want a free enchantment? I think I want more cards, so we'll use the Teferi. And, oh, Drake Haven. So we get both anyway. Yeah, okay, well, we'll go for the Drake Haven. I think that's the only enchantment we could go for, apart from the one that makes Krakens. That might still be in here. Oh, okay, we're getting both, apparently. I'm not sure how these 2 work together. But we get 2 enchantments, so that's fine. We'll draw some cards. We actually get free cycling, because the new perspectives will draw us 3 cards, take us up to 7. Oh, and we'll actually draw 6 cards, won't we? Yeah, there we are. I think infinite hand size. I thought this during the Decree of Pain turn. An infinite hand size would be really useful so that we could keep all of the... there's Ominous Seas. Can't play it, unfortunately. But yeah, we could have had a lot more cycle cards in hand. But not to worry. Let's just throw out a Forest. Put the Greaves on the Bone Miser. And I think we might be able to go off from here. Because we've got a 0 cost on the cycling cards. So let's just cycle this for nothing now. And that will draw us a couple of cards with Bone Miser. We'll pay the life into the... Do we want a Drake? I think we'd rather just drain our opponents at this point. I'm worried about the Gishath over there. Could have done both if I'd waited, actually, so maybe should wait now on the cycling effects. Yeah, it's a shame we couldn't get Ominous Seas into play. Okay, and we chose for the replacement effects the Teferi, the Ageless Insight last time. I don't know what happens if we choose this. I think we just look at more cards with the blue enchantment. And there we go, get ourselves into a Sol Ring. And an Arcane Signet. So we get 2 replacement effects. I'm not sure if that's how it's supposed to work. You never know with Magic Online. That actually allows us to get Ominous Seas Town, doesn't it? So I'm glad I did it this turn. A total accident on my part. But let's go for the Ominous Seas. And now I think we're okay to pass the turn at that. We just have to hope that we keep getting into cycling stuff. We've only got 29 cards left in the library. So it might be that we just end up losing here. But at least we got to show off what you can do with a cycling deck. I've never played one before. Now at the end of the turn we can actually do more, can't we? Because it's at the end of our turn that we can go off here, so that's good. Let's cycle the Crystal for 0 mana. Draw us a card with the Bone Miser. We'll get a Drake, and we'll drain our opponents. Try and get rid of Billy Kills. And then we get 4 shadow counters on the Ominous Seas. And that is Reminiscence. Shuffle card into the player's library. That's the type of thing you'd want to definitely be able to do here. So, yeah, we'll just point at Teferi's Ageless Insight again. Get into a crystal. Might as well cast it. And there's a Wayfarer's Bauble. Doubt there's even any lands to grab in the library anymore. Yeah, not being able to play at flash speed hurts us a little bit. I think we just pass at that. And we'll get rid of some lands. Oh, and then we get to add mana because we discard stuff, alright. Yeah, so really seeing how potent cycling cards are now. Yeah, I didn't realise how they actually win, to be honest, because I've never played with or against one before. But yeah, starting to see how good they are here. Oh, and actually I've stacked those in the wrong order because I was busy yaddering. Oh well. Yeah, we won't be able to make use of the black mana. Should have put the cycle triggers on the stack first. Yeah, that might affect us actually, because I put the triggers on the stack first from the Bone Miser. We're going to have to tap down lands here, which we might have wanted to make use of during Golgo's turn. Oh well. We'll just have to keep our fingers crossed, I think. So the game plan here is to survive until our next turn and use Reminisce to shuffle everything back into our graveyard, and then we can just carry on without decking ourselves. Oh, I didn't realise how low these two were actually. I think we might just go for the cycling now before they get to do anything. I should have done that, yeah, because they're going to be able to gain life here. Sorry, I didn't realise how low Gogo was. Mirror Maid. Did we just force them to tap out here? It is 3 mana for the gain life, so they can gain life a couple of times on the stack. We've got a couple of cycle cards though, so yeah, let's go for that. And we'll put them on the stack in the correct order this time. Go for the Drake Haven and the Faith of the Devoted. Then we can make use of the mana from the Bone Miser. Say yes, and I think they've passed through the turn there, so yeah, they haven't given themselves a chance to react with the Kenrith, I don't think. Yeah, so I think they could have saved themselves there because we, in response to their Kenrith trigger, would have put another cycling card on the stack, and then they could have responded with Kenrith again and survived. But I think we might have this game wrapped up anyway. There we are, an Abandoned Sarcophagus would be good. Just pass through the turn and get over to the Scarab God player. Rise of the Dark Realms, well, might wish we'd shuffled the graveyard sooner than now, not that we had chance to do it. They've got Vengeful Dead, yeah, nothing really helps them here. They've got a Haster, a couple of Flyers. They do have an Exploit with Sidisi though, if they want it. And when they sacrifice, they will force us to sack, and Vengeful Dead will trigger as well. We'll just get rid of one of our Drakes. Now drawing a card with the Crypt Breaker after the Tutor, which will gain them a life and put a plus counter on the Shabraz. And deciding to swing in at us. I don't think we need to worry about if we take any damage there. Let's just block our own Buccaneer so that we can shuffle it back into our library. And when that dies, it will force us to get rid of another Drake. Don't think we're reliant on the Drakes to win, fortunately. Go for the Reminisce. And then we don't have... Do we have another cycling card? This doesn't cycle. Discard a creature, put a plus counter on it. Yeah, we actually don't have any other cycling effects, do we? So why don't we just try ditching the Archfiend of Ifnir for 0 mana. That will make a zombie token. And we'll make Drakes. Then we'll see if we can get into a couple of creatures. Riel, that's a good one. And we get into Kess as well, right after we shuffle the graveyard back into the library. Just worried about decking myself there. We could set up our commander for next turn. I think I would rather go for the Abandoned Sarcophagus. and then we can play the Archfiend of Ifnir. Noteworthy that the Urborg has gone now as well, so we can't go for the fetches for black mana. So let's crack some fetches and get ourselves into some duels. We could turn the Drakes in sideways. Our opponent's gone up some life thanks to combat. Yeah. Thought we might have our opponent next turn, but didn't realise we don't actually have all that many cycling cards, unfortunately, available to us at the moment. So let's just go Soul Herder. Play the Felwar Stone as well. And at this point, I think we just have to hope that we can get into some cycling stuff. Can't really swing in because they've got big life-linking flyers in the way. Yeah, I think we just have to hold back. Let's exile the Archfiend of Ifnir to put a plus counter on it. All our stuff will untap. And I think at this point we might have to become reliant on the Golos. Like I said, can't play instant speed though, unfortunately, which is useful in Golos decks. Well, there is the sack outlet that they wanted. And they do decide to sacrifice a creature. They got rid of Sidisi, Undead Vizier, probably so that they can reanimate it and go for a tutor again. We will sacrifice a zombie, which triggers the Vengeful Dead because it works on all zombies in play. Animate Dead onto Sidisi, so they can dodge the exile with the Scarab God. Then we'll sacrifice our Riel. I think that's going to be the most useless creature that we have in play at the moment. Flying is going to be relevant. If we can chain off a bunch of cycle cards, then we could potentially get rid of our opponent's board with Archfiend of Ifnir. I won't feel too bad about losing to a bunch of tutors though. And after the tutor they go for Zombie Master. And we must control a swamp, yes we do. So all of their zombies are going to have Swamp Walk here. Don't know how many zombies they've got. That's 1, 2... Oh, and of course they mill us, don't they? So they're not going to be dealing combat damage to us. So I don't necessarily have to worry about it. And there's a Grey Merchant of Asphodel, which will put us very close to dying. Yep, go down to 10. Might be able to play some cycling cards out of the bin here, though, because they're going to mill us for a bunch. It's the non-zombie cards that we need to worry about with regards to combat damage. So let's get Shabraz out of the way. We'll get that out of the way. We'll be able to play that out of the bin because it's got cycling, and we can do that thanks to the Abandoned Sarcophagus. We'll keep the Kess in play just in case. I don't see what Soul Herder does for us, really. I mean, we get an extra land with Golos, but not really that bothered about that at this point. So we'll just throw the Soul Herder in the way of the Scarab God. And the rest can hit us for all I care. They could always sacrifice... yeah, they've got the Carrion Feeder, so they could always sacrifice this in response and deal some actual damage to us with the zombies. Then we're forced to sacrifice a creature. What did we mill? Devious Cover-Up. It's just a counter spell. Commander Sphere, Darksteel Ingot. Didn't get into any cycle cards, unfortunately. So I don't think we're going to make use of Kess. We'll just get rid of her. They jump up to 43 life. And now, the moment of truth. Let's see what we get off the top. Well, is that a top deck or is that a top deck? Are they going to drain us out with the Vengeful Dead? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 will be dealt to us with the Vengeful Dead. I think we have to go for the Ruinous Blast though. Let's drop a Plains and we'll go straight in for Ruinous Blast, I think. So there we are. We have to sacrifice a bunch of our creatures, unfortunately, but I think that had to be done there. Probably could have turned some Drakes in sideways first at them, actually. So we sacrifice our board there. They will get the Scarab God back into hand. And... oh, our thing must have been exiled somehow. Archfiend of Ifnir getting exiled. I'm not sure... yeah, I'm not sure how that got exiled. I must have missed something. Maybe we've got something in play that does it. As we all know, it's not my deck, so you'll have to forgive me for some mistakes that I make. Let's finally get into our Golos again. And then we might as well get down the Badgersaur as well. And we are really just hoping that Golos can take us to the end at this point. If anyone can do it, Golos can. Let's give the surly Badgersaur haste. And we'll Lightning Bolt our opponent. Well, they get straight into their Scarab God again. Don't actually know what's in their graveyard to reanimate. I'm sure they've got some nasty stuff for us. Then a Mesmeric Orb. Well, they're not going for the Scarab God activations now anyway. Just going to continue to load up graveyards. Dimir Signet down to 1 card in hand. And Golos, again with the not being able to play Flash. We can't make full use of the Wilderness Reclamation, unfortunately. So I don't think there's all that much point in going for the Golos activation now. We will crack this Wayfarer's Bauble though. And we've only got 1 basic left, which is relevant. Mesmeric Orb going off. We untapped a lot of stuff there, so we get milled for a bunch. Yeah, and some stuff's definitely getting exiled here, so I'm obviously missing something. What is it that's exiling things? Oh, it seems to be the cycling cards themselves that are going into exile. No wonder we're not drawing into them. Is there some kind of nombo here that I'm not seeing? Ah, that's the one. If a card with cycling would be put into the graveyard from anywhere and it wasn't cycled, exile it instead. Ugh. Yeah, that's a hell of a downside. And we can see here how many cards we would have had access to, or would have been milled actually, but we would have had potential to draw these. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Anyway, let's cycle the Astral Drift. Yeah, I'm really not sure I would play the Abandoned Sarcophagus if that's the downside on it. Going to flicker the Scarab God. There's not much harm in that. And we're down to 4 life thanks to the Scarab God, so we definitely have to start draining our opponent. Then I'm actually going to point the replacement effect at the red source here and see what it does, because I'm not, like I said before, I'm not sure what happens when I pick either or here. There were no cards sharing a card type with Astral Drift for us to get into. But hopefully we still draw some additional cards here. Alright, we do not, so apparently you always choose Teferi's Ageless Insight. Let's just drop a land. And let's activate Golos. Now what have we got? That is less cycling. There's a counterspell. A reclaim we might be able to make use of. Let's cast the Zerda. And I think putting the Bone Miser on top might be useful. So let's throw the Bone Miser on top and we'll go for another Golos activation. And, alright, well, we whiff there, don't we? Well, we got into the Bone Miser at least. So I think we might as well just cast the Astral Drift at this point. And I don't see how we can get into more cycling cards, really. This thing is really hurting us, I think. Let's put haste onto the 4/4. And we'll swing in at our opponent. The Scarab God is going to come back at the end step, so they will be able to swing in with that. We'll at least be able to make a creature not block with Zerda, but yeah, I think this is the Scarab Gods to lose here, because I think they've really got us on the ropes. The Mesmeric Orb is really going to hurt us, exiling a bunch of our cycling cards, along with the Abandoned Sarcophagus. And it's taking an age to pass priority. We've lost a few seconds here, well, a lot of time, because the game is starting to drag. Turn 17, another long one for us. Oh, and it's noteworthy that the Scarab God has hit the command zone, so when we went for the Astral Drift, they must have put it into the command zone and not exile, so that doesn't bring it back. Well, they hard cast the Scarab God anyway. Luckily it can't swing in at us thanks to that error with the Astral Drift. Now going for reanimating something with the Scarab God. Nothing we can do about that. Does that do it? That will drain us for 3, I think. So not quite getting us. And it's taking an age to pass priority again. We're probably going to time out here because the client is taking forever and a day to input our commands. Just lagging like crazy, and I've got really good internet. Alright, well, there's draw some cards at least. I wonder if we can win really quickly. Let's go for the drawing what will be 8 cards. And I'm not sure what happened there. Oh, we drew into an empty library. Yeah, of course, because I forgot about all the mill and everything. Yeah, I mean, with so few cards left in the library and such a low life total, I don't think we were ever going to win that one anyway. Yeah, I think the life gain really saved the Scarab God player there. I thought we might have been able to chain off into something there, but yeah, with the cards available, we still didn't have anything. Not sure about how much Abandoned Sarcophagus hurt us there, along with the mill. I'm not sure if we would have been able to make use of stuff out of the graveyard anyway. Also not sure. Casey will have to tell us if shuffling the graveyard when we had 20 odd cards left in the library was the right thing to do either. Yeah, I'll have to look at it through the edit, but bear in mind this is my first playthrough of the deck. And yeah, besides making a few mistakes here and there, very much enjoyed it. I have never played with or against a cycling deck before, so yeah, this was a really, really fun one for me. Hopefully you all enjoyed it as well. Big thank you to Casey for supporting the channel at the Mythic tier and for giving us this deck to play with. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more from the EDH channel. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.